How we doing? I am the great Wendt, and I am joined today by Greg Sarafan. How we doing, Greg?
I'm doing great.
Fantastic. So the Disco Biscuits have a stellar post lockdown run, and last year, this year, they've become the biggest band in space. Beyond the live arena, which we'll get to, they have a film LP out that is built as a space opera. And some of these songs have been kicking around for years. And I was hoping Greg could help me walk through how this came to be, what he knew about the songs. How can you give us something there, Greg?
Sure. So there are 14 tracks on the LP. Um, all of them were included in the movie that you just mentioned. And they tell the story of a band of explorers, essentially. Um, yeah, I mean, do you want me to go through the story? There's a whole there's a whole plot, and as far as concept albums go, it's really something you can dig your teeth into.
Yeah. I've been thinking a lot about rock opera since listening to this and writing a great lyric, that kind of thing. We don't have to go through all the songs, but can you give us the
Yeah,
general story?
sure. So a crew of aliens, one of which is the prince of his planet, are going through space. They are transported through a wormhole to Earth. They decide that they're going to attack Earth. They land in Times Square on New Year's Eve, and they start freezing everyone in ice. The Disco Biscuits are playing underground on New Year's Eve. That's especially poignant, mostly because the Disco Biscuits have played, I think, about 40 shows at what's now called the Palladium in Times Square, which is underground.
Right.
So in the movie, the Disco Biscuits then decide to go and fight the aliens. Um, they are captured by the aliens, and the aliens, or during their fight, the Disco Biscuits play some music, and the aliens are like, "What is this music?" So they're captured by the aliens. The aliens then transfer their own DNA to the Disco Biscuits, who give up their own lives in order to save all the people that the aliens froze. The Disco Biscuits are then taken through a wormhole back to the home planet of the aliens. They go on a world tour of the aliens and prevent a coup against the royal family of the aliens. And then the opera ends with a song called "To Be Continued." So presumably, there's a lot more where that came from.
There's part two. It's coming. It's interesting to me that I wonder, I don't know if you know this, if the songs that existed, maybe some of them existed before there was a notion of a cohesive whole to it.
So my understanding, and this is just
Reading
my
Twitter.
yes, reading Twitter, talking to people in the scene. There's a gentleman named Joey who the band calls Coach, and he helped Barber write the opera. So my understanding is that everything was made with the intention of being part of this large suite.
Okay. All right, there you go. I love that they have the lyricist working with them because there's something to be said for the line itself in a song. Like when you're seeing a band live, the only thing you can concentrate on is the line they're singing. So you need to have great lines, not necessarily great verses or anything. And I feel like every one of these songs has that line and can stand on its own, but when you step back, they really do make the cohesive whole. And they went full on there at Webster Hall, huh?
They did. They played for about 4 hours, and there were they spliced in the film on the large projector screen behind them. They had additional animation that wasn't part of the movie that complemented the songs, and it was, there were guest singers. There
Mm-hmm.
was Cloud Chord performed with them. He was the producer on the entire album, and it was looking around there. just at the venue and all the people there. I was like, everyone who loves the Disco Biscuits made it to this show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fantastic, and it's amazing to me that it took 3 sets for them to do live what was on, the film, which
So,
is what
so it was 2 sets, but each set was approximately 2 hours.
Okay, 2 sets. Okay, very nice. And where did they split it? Where like the LP split? Isn't it released on vinyl now or coming?
It is released on vinyl. I have a copy of it at home. I haven't opened it. I want to open it, but at the same time, it's one of 1,000.
Don't
and
open it.
I can listen to it on Spotify and just hold this shrink wrapped piece of art in my hand, and I'll never see inside, but it's making me feel better just to have it in the shrink wrap.
Yeah, you got to get yourself a climate controlled room for it.
Yeah, I know. But to answer your question, I think they stopped right before Who's in Charge. So
Okay.
So they left, I think it was 8 songs for the second half.
Okay. And that makes sense if you think back to the film. That's probably a good spot to do that. I feel like go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I will say they only had one hard stop in either of the sets. They played straight through the whole time.
Right. I feel like some of these songs should live together, like The Deal and Space Train. I feel like they should live together from here on out, like a China Rider thing.
Yeah. There are a couple songs that I like as couples or duos, as it were.
Yeah. How much do you think it helped with the coming together of the album, them having played all the stuff live for a while?
So, you get that with jam bands a lot, where half the material on albums has already been debuted, in this case for years. And you could, when I first heard some of these tracks live, they were very different from how they were performed at Webster Hall. So it definitely helped them, create a cohesive story musically, not just lyrically, because, they knew what they were doing for each song. Now, for instance, Shocked, which is how it opens, was not 50 minutes like it was a few weeks ago.
Right.
But, they took the essence of, say, that 50-minute jam and, boiled it down to what we needed.
Right. There you go. It's what I call the artifact when you go in the studio and record it. This is what the song basically is. This is not necessarily what you're going to see when you come to see us live.
Yeah. I mean, I think that this album in particular is done in a way that I have really appreciated the studio tracks a lot more than, say, I've appreciated other studio tracks. They have, you can tell that they worked, not that they haven't worked hard on other studios albums, but this one comes after a long gap where they didn't put anything out, and it feels like they put everything into this album.
The production value is off the charts. I feel like the studio became a 5th member. Whoever was doing the engineering and helping her with the production, the guy with the lyrics being there, they became a 5th member for him, and they put out maybe the best album they've ever put out.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that statement. Yeah.
Back in 98, I tweeted about this and tagged you. They did the whole Uncivilized Area LP once live for the record release party, but it was only 4 minutes and like 25 seconds long. They played like 30-second little snippet of each one to open the first set.
Yeah.
Which was
I think it was the Planet Anthem release party where they played Nufhugger, Nughuffer into the other songs and then back into it and then like in and out. That's fun, but that's not what this was. This was a full-on experience.
Right. Let me throw this out at you because I'm beginning to believe this now that we've had enough separation from quarantine. I think quarantine helped a lot of bands. I talked to Mark, and he was talking about how he practiced more than he ever had during the period of lockdown, and that he was teaching other people. How much do you think the experience that we all went through and the having to get off the road helped the band?
So right before COVID hit, the Biscuits announced, it was maybe 3 months before, it was in November of 2019. They announced that they were back, that set break was over, that they were going back on the road. They had new energy. They were releasing new songs. And then COVID hit. And they still, like, they didn't play for all of 2020, except for one show which no one attended at Citizens Bank Arena, right? Yeah, in Philadelphia, that they live streamed. But they carried that that spark
That fire, right?
the fire that they ignited in 2019 with them through the pandemic. And when they started playing shows again, they were some of the best shows that they had played in years.
And they were bold getting out there. They were one of the first bands out
Yeah.
there doing the separated shows or whatever they called them.
Yeah, we were. I attended a few of the shows, and they were, at drive-in movie theaters or just big fields. And you'd get out, and the next car would be 20 feet away, and you'd have your own little section, and they would just play. Yeah, it was great.
Nice. But then I want to go talk to somebody eventually. I want to go chomp. Oh, yeah. That's fantastic. All right, great. Let me ask you something else. Totally different subject while I have you here.
Sure.
You work with Headcount.
Yep.
Obviously, Mark has been part of Headcount. What's going on? It's an election year.
So Headcount is definitely ramping things up all across the country. Lots and lots of shows. But, this year we're working with bigger artists than we've ever worked with. I think we're on Olivia Rodrigo tour right now. We're obviously on the Disco Biscuits tour. And we're with a bunch of artists who, I'll be honest, I don't really know, but I know are very popular, like Tyler Childers and Slater Kenny, Fall Out Boy. I mean, I know who Fall Out Boy is.
Right.
And we're trying to make things happen. We have, I think,
the right Sphere. Now, you guys going to be Dead and Company at the Sphere?
I don't know that we're going to be at the Sphere. We are normally on Dead and Company tour.
Yeah, I know.
So I imagine that there's some kind of partnership there. Normally, Headcount runs the
shakedown inside.
What do we call it?
Something row.
Yeah, participation row.
Participate, right, instead of desolation, right? Yeah.
Yes, participation row. So I imagine if there's space for us to be there, that we'll be there.
Nice. Yeah, I heard they're going to have an inside shakedown street each weekend. I haven't been to the Sphere, and I've seen videos, but apparently there's huge indoor spaces underneath where all the seats are, I guess, because it's that incredible thing.
That makes sense.
What do you think about Fish at the Sphere while I have you here?
I don't know. I don't have tickets to Fish at the Sphere, so I can speculate without ruining it for myself. But I think you're going to get a lot of, and I use this term with all the love, a lot of spun out looks selling their tickets to the second night because they just can't handle it.
Right. Yeah, I would fall. I would need to be on the floor or in the 100s. I could not be up in the 400s. I would be that guy.
So what I've heard is that for the U2 shows, people have just been constantly falling. People who are just standing on flat ground fall over. Not even going up and down the stairs, standing at their seats.
Trying to dance on a head full is just not happening.
Yeah.
It's going to be crazy. I'm interested. Do you think they're going to stream? That's been a question.
I think I don't know.
Money.
Honestly, if they love Fish Inc. has never missed an opportunity to make money. We're all aware of that. They went and they bought all of the RVs and hotels and then scalped them back to their fans. They've never missed that opportunity. But I just don't think that a live stream of like that kind of experience is really going to, you're not going to get it. It's not going to be the all-encompassing experience you get from being there in person, because you don't have camera, you don't have bug eyes.
Right. Are you going to be at Mondegreen?
I am going to be at Mondegreen.
All right. Well, if I don't see you before then, we're going to have to meet in real person. We're going to have the WOOK Plus flag up, whole 9 yards. Nice. We're even going to try to broadcast. We'll see what kind of mess that is.
I don't know about that.
After the shows, 15 minutes after the encore.
After, so you're going to go to the show and then try to
run back to the RV.
I don't know about. I mean, all the luck to you.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll have to have you back on to talk more sometime. This is fantastic.
Absolutely.
All right, we're gonna play a little cheesy music and then I'll end the stream.